we can talk endlessly. We will talk for days on end until he boards his plane. I'll be talking to the guy and asking him questions. And so, and also I want to do more. We want to shine the light on things that are happening that.
You're trying to move to some investigative pieces though now. You've been doing Scientology.
It just seems a lot more fun. Like the thing I sometimes struggle with going to the hood is I have all these different subjects and questions I want to ask about, and I get 1 or 2 sentence responses sometimes. Where just nothing. Sometimes it's just a lack of curiosity that is frustrating to make a piece. Whereas if I'm bringing out an ex-Blackwater mercenary to show me tactical driving, how not to get kidnapped, how to shoot at targets, we can talk endlessly. We will talk for days on end until he boards his plane. I'll be talking to the guy and asking him questions. And so, and also I want to do more. We want to shine the light on things that are happening that, like Kenneth Copeland or Scientology. We want to do pieces that really bring a little bit of justice back to the world and expose just a little bit more what some of these people are doing.
Dev, did you see his Scientology video?
I did. I watch all Tommy G's videos.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really do.
Thank you, man.
So you just filmed that like 2 months ago, I think, right? Something like that?
That was a crazy one. I didn't even know what that was until I seen your video.
Scientology?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I didn't even know. That's when I started looking it up. And I think you put in your video where they said they believe in some shit where they throw the beans. And yeah, it was your video. I seen that in there. And then they were kicking you out. And they wasn't trying to talk to you. And
Yeah.
So you hadn't covered that before. You go down there with Aaron, Jenna Muscavage, and Mark Bunker, who've all been in here.
And then there's also a guy named Serge that we got to meet, Serge Del Mar.
Yeah, I don't know him, but yeah.
Man, some of the stuff that he said was so compelling in his story and points to the biggest thing about Scientology to me is, okay, if a consenting adult decides to join and give all their money away, I feel bad for them. But when kids are born into it, forced to work dozens of hours a week for free, treated like absolute crap, separated from their parents.
Yep.
That makes me like, that's when you want to put the gloves on and just go in there.
Who came up with that? That's crazy.
L. Ron Hubbard, baby.
Guys, absolutely one of the most psychotic stories you'll ever hear. He was like the shittiest science fiction writer of all time. He would just write like, I don't know, like a version of Pulp Fiction that was terrible. These awful stories. I've never read them, but everyone says they're terrible. And then he ended up writing, I guess, like Dianetics, right? And coming up with the idea of Scientology. It had obviously some brilliance in creating like a cult of authority around him, and then preyed on every human being's desire, which is like, you know, the ability to get wealth, the ability to be a part of something, and the ability to feel like they have something to look forward to in the afterlife.
They thought they were saving the world, so how would you not want to be part of the mission?
Right. And
Wait, so do they get rich when they?
No, they get poor. They get in debt massively.
A lot of them get poor, and then you'll hear.
So the person at the top gets rich.
Yeah. Yeah, because they pay into it and everything. And then you'll hear about like the Tom Cruises and the Grant Cardones and the people who
they're in it too.
Oh yeah,
they're Scientologists.
Oh yeah, Grant Cardone's a Scientologist.
Dang, so they're evil finessers.
That's what I'm saying. Grant Cardone's gonna run for governor. I want to say in California, and I'm like, do we know who? You weren't with me when I heard that. I forget if it's California or Florida. One of them, allegedly, is gonna be running for governor. And I'm like, how can you even get past the Scientology thing? Like the minute that comes up,
I can't wait to see the debates.
He better be cooked. Yeah, like, but that's what I'm saying. Like people like that will profit off of it.
Does he have kids?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he did the same thing. He put his kids into the Scientology.
No,
I don't know that for
he
a
was
fact.
a businessman that joined Scientology.
Right.
So, and there's the celebrity sphere. They get to kind of do their normal thing and enjoy their life, and then they get treated like a VIP when they show up to Scientology.
Yes.
But then they have their worker bees who are every day doing hard labor, whether they're dry cleaning, they're putting concrete up, like pretty much every internal job that they don't have to hire a contractor for, they do free labor for.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're
basically
Scientology to use slaves, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So that's why. So he doesn't actually believe some knight came and threw beans in a volcano.
I don't know.
There's no way
don't
they
think
actually
he
believe
did.
that. I
No.
think I was about to ask. There's definitely got to be something behind that. So
Well,
that's
the
what
other
it is.
thing
He wants
is
to
you
free
only
slaves.
learn that. You're only supposed to learn that information after you've been in for a long time and paid a lot of money. And so then you have
And they tell you that?
Yes. So then you have the sunk
Imprison
cost
people.
fallacy where you've already invested tens of thousands of dollars. You've already given up your entire family circle and only people you know are in Scientology. And then you learn this information and it might be disappointing, but you're already so far deep that you probably don't want to get out for the most part.
The guy who's been in charge of Scientology since L. Ron Hubbard died is this very short guy named David Miscavige.
Very short.
And so that's since like 1986. His niece, Jenna, who was in the video with Tommy, who I did a podcast with, she was born into their Sea Org because her parents are obviously like the brother and brother-in-law of David Miscavige, which means that's like literally like in the cult of the cult, like you're basically living in your own world. Like it's enclosed, they're shut out. Like she knew who the president of the United States was, but didn't know like what the importance of that was or anything like that. And she lived the first 21 years of her life in this. And then, it's like very hard to disconnect.
In the building?
Basically, yeah. And then, she found her way out of it, and it was like being born again. Like she came into a world and she's like, wow, like what is all this shit? And they, have tried to slander her and a lot of other things as well, and they ruined her life. But like you see the brainwashing that happens and the lack of choice she had over anything she did and the bullshit that they fed her. And it is impossible to not feel terrible because she's not dumb. She's born into it. Like, what the fuck else is she supposed to do? That's what I asked, dude. How the fuck is it legal?
Is it because the higher ups are in it too, huh?
Well, it's that, and also they have like Mark Bunker can talk to this a lot because he's spent his whole life like trying to document it. But they find loopholes with the IRS. They're declared like a religious organization. There's been
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Damn, they're super scamming.
They're super scamming. Yeah, they're the real scammers. They're like
that's fucked up.
Yeah, they're the next level scamming. But you guys like, so you went and like crashed the headquarters and everything. Like, how was that?
There's no conversations to be had. It's just they kind of, hey, get out. You're trespassing. I wish I was a little less juvenile with them, and I wish I asked them a little more hard hitting things at that time. But I knew there was no real conversation that would be generated from them, so it didn't matter what I said to them. But the most interesting part, I think, was getting to get their top flight security that guarded the Celebrity Center, because they're kind of the equivalent of the CIA for Scientology. Right. And they even got a little handsy.
They got handsy.
They were kind of pushing me out of the fence, and I pushed them back, and I was expecting a loss. I was wondering if a lawsuit was going to happen. But I think for a lot of these cults, a lawsuit is bad because now all of a sudden you have to air out all your dirty laundry in the eyes of court. There's investigations. So it's better just to be silent than it is to go after someone now.
Their main headquarters is in Clearwater, Florida. And one of the things they do that is, I mean, it's sinister, but it's kind of brilliant, like, is they buy up all the real estate around where they are and it just stays empty. So they basically create their own little ghost town there.
It's like North Korea.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I never knew about none of this till your video.
Oh, it's nuts, man.
They need to make a movie on it.
They made a movie that's like kind of based on it that doesn't directly like go at it.
What's
called
that?
The Master. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix, and I think it's been a while since I've seen it. Philip Seymour Hoffman is supposed to be like L. Ron Hubbard.
That's a good.
So
casting.
who would you rather be taken down? Like, you know how like all the rappers and gangs get Ricos? Would you rather them, or would you rather the Scientologists?
Scientologists.
Yeah, for sure. Easy.
So how are they still getting away with everything then?
It's about who you know and back.
I guess they're doing it the right.
Yeah.
They have enough resources to have a powerful front in court, and I think the religious shield helps them quite a bit as well. But I was just reading about a cult in Spindale, North Carolina, about an hour away from Charlotte. A lady named Jane Whaley, Word of Fellowship Church. It makes me so mad when some of the things that they do to people there. But like documented child abuse, documented slave labor, documented manipulation, control, and somehow the authorities know about it. The sheriffs know about it, and for some reason,
It's because of religion. So you can do whatever you want as long as you just say it's a religion.
It seems like that sometimes.
Do you think there's more there though? Blackmail, things like that.
Well, I think a lot of it's happening behind closed doors, and I think they're so good at controlling people that if one person escapes to say something, they have 20 members that they've already prepared their story on.
They torture.
He's a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they torture these people like in Scientology when they leave. I mean, there's campaigns against them like you wouldn't believe.
They have people showing up to their house. They have people. They hire private investigators to tail people.
Yep.
I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, it's dark, man. I mean, we've done 4 in here, and there's one like, so when Ron and Jenna were here, they were here for a couple days. First day I recorded with Ron. He was basically born.
Ron, you call him?
Yeah.
Okay.
You never saw that?
No, I like that
on his videos, because he starts off the video with the Key and Peele skit, Like that's like his
okay.
tagline, like hey Ron. But he was here. We recorded one day, and then the next day they came back and I did the episode with Jenna. But I don't know if you've run into stuff. When we finished recording with Aaron, someone had put a New York Scientology brochure below my mailbox downstairs. And I'm like, God damn.
So
Now,
they're following them?
yeah, that's what I think.
Jeez.
I've never seen that before. It was below. It wasn't in my mailbox. It was below it.
So when they're born into it and they go in a new world, what's different to them?
Well, they're fucked up. And I don't say that as a slight at
Like,
all.
what do they believe? Like, how they fucked up?
They got to imagine you got to rewire everything you've ever known about, like, the axis of what it means to be here.
You know the Truman Show with Jim Carrey?
Yeah, yep. That's how I describe it.
He lives entirely in this own little bubble, and then he discovers there's an outside world, and there's an overwhelming sense of
freedom.
But also,
they think
what
that
have I
is
missed
freedom?
out on this whole time, and what's really out there, and what's really real? Because if this wasn't real, my entire life wasn't real so far.
Yep.
What can I trust anymore? What can I believe in anymore?
Damn.
I think the Truman Show, actually, and I don't think there's ever been anything said about this. If there has, correct us in the comments. I think the Truman Show has some undertones of like a little shot at stuff like Scientology, for sure. Because basically it's the idea just all the way. Tommy just explained it. But like he was in a TV show and he didn't know it. He was the only, everyone around him was a character and he was being filmed from birth. They wanted to film someone from birth going through life. They had hidden cameras like in his medicine cabinet and shit. So people around the world were watching him on a live stream his entire life and he never knew it. And it's like you live in a separate universe and you're unaware. And that's how, like, when you talk with like Jenna, who's born in the highest levels of it, and spends 21 years there, and she's indoctrinated by literally the leadership because it's her family. You know, I would just have, as we were talking, I just had all these questions that would pop up, like, oh, what do you know about math, or like random shit, because they had an enclosed environment that was, like silent torture in a way. It's crazy.
Do they listen to music?
That was another question I asked her. I was like, what? I don't even remember what she said. I'm like, what did you know about music? Like, what did you listen to or whatever? But I can't remember if she knew any mainstream stuff or if they had like
Scientology artists.
Random. I can't even remember. There were so many things. I would just come up with something and be like, what about this? Or what about that? And she would sit there and really think about it. Like, oh no, I didn't.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that they don't have access to Punch Made Dev music in Scientology?
We
have to liberate these people.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're doing. We're putting Punch Made Dev music in there.
In the Scientology buildings?
Yeah, they'll learn about the real world. They'll be like, what is this fentanyl crisis? I learned it from Punch Made Dev.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.